most candidates don't fail assessments because they're not smart enough. They fail because they didn't know what was coming. So in this lesson, I'll help you demystify the assessment stage and give you a preparation game plan. So why master online assessment? This is because online assessments are the primary filter for big tech companies for filtering out millions of applicants. There are only 1 to 3% of candidates receiving offers at major tech firms, so assessments is a way to screen out majority of candidates. Assessment scores directly influence hiring decisions. Candidates that score high often bypass additional interview stages. Mastering assessment techniques then gives you a competitive edge that most candidates actually lack, but it's crucial for success. Here's the big picture. Assessments are structured in workflows that has defined stages, triggers, and decision points. Each step of that workflow is orchestrated to maximize both efficiency and fairness, and it transforms a manual evaluation into an automated, scalable system. Now, there are different types of assessments depending on the role specifics, seniority level, and geographical location. Each assessment is tailored to measure job-relevant competencies and predict success in that specific context. We're going to take a look at a few examples of assessments and what they measure. So let's look at assessment types by role. You could have assessments for technical roles such as SDE roles, data science roles, technical program managers. So there are, assessments like coding challenges, algorithm problems for engineers, and then SQL queries and statistical problems, machine learning concepts for data scientists. And you could have technical knowledge and project scenarios for technical program managers. All right, and then there are assessments for business roles, which include roles like sales and marketing, product management roles, financial operations role, and roles like this. So you would have assessments that test your situational judgment, that provide scenario-based questions, role plays, case studies, and some prioritization exercises, for example, for product management roles. For more like finance roles, you would have assessments that test your data interpretation, that provides business scenarios, or for customer service that tests language proficiency, since you would have to interact with customers a lot. And then you could have technical troubleshooting assessments for more technical support roles. So there are different assessments depending on the role that you are applying to. Now let's talk about assessment types by level. For entry junior level roles, assessments typically test some fundamental skills using basic scenarios. But for mid-level roles, you would have assessments providing more complex problems and providing, leadership scenarios. And for senior levels, typically like L7 plus, depending on the company, you have assessment that tests your strategic thinking, systems approach, and often, provides custom assessment depending on the seniority and the company. In many cases, assessments are also varied based on region-specific requirements, such as in the EU, there's GDPR, so assessments are needed to be compliant with local regulations. There are also language adaptations for companies offering a role in a specific country that speaks a language other than English. There are also cultural considerations, which necessitates having content aligned to regional cultural norms. All right, largely, there are two categories of online assessment. The first category is the behavioral assessment, and the second category is the technical assessment. Behavioral assessments measure more soft skills, values alignment, workplace behaviors, and these signals that predict job success beyond your technical skills. These assessments focus on how candidates approach work, how they collaborate, and how they handle different challenges. Sometimes assessments are gamified. It uses neuroscience-based games to measure traits such as risk tolerance, attention span, and decision-making patterns without obvious right answers. And then there are work style comparison type assessments, which provides first choice questions like Amazon has these work styles that has candidates to select between paired statements, what is most like me and what's least like me. And that describes their workplace approach, measuring the alignment with the company's values. Then there are also video responses in some assessments. And usually these video responses analyzes your verbal and non-verbal cues in a recorded format, and it helps the company understand, how you connect personally to people. Typically, these are, it uses AI to interpret your behavioral cues. All right. There are also situational judgment type questions, which provides more like multiple options, and they're used to evaluate problem solving, prioritization, interpersonal skills, and make sure you have an alignment with the company culture and leadership principles. Candidates are responding typically to realistic workplace scenarios and selecting actions they're most likely to take. Okay, then let's go to technical and coding assessment. Most of the candidates that are applying to big techs are going to take a technical or coding assessment. These are assessments that objectively evaluate the candidate's programming abilities, problem-solving skills, and job-relevant technical knowledge. The assessments are primary filter for technical roles in big tech companies, with some organizations processing millions of coding submissions every year. The assessment methods include algorithm challenges, data structure problems, system design questions, debugging tasks, SQL queries, and real-world project simulations, often with multiple language support and the likes. Grading of this assessment is done through a machine learning-based evaluation of your code quality, efficiency, and test case coverage. Edge case handling and time-space complexity is also typically measured. Real-time feedback and metrics collections are provided with automated monitoring on this assessment. Given the high risk of candidate misbehaviors in these assessments, security and anti-cheating systems are often in place, typically using proctoring and webcam monitoring, browser lockdown systems, plagiarism detection algorithms, keystroke biometrics, tab switching alerts, and content leakage monitoring to ensure assessment integrity. So these are things you have to be prepared for and to think about actively when preparing for your online assessment.